Okay, so what I'm going to have a quick look at is your image, and the basic workflow that I saw when I looked at it is that you want to remove these blemishes that are in the image themselves, these black spots that are burned out, and this white speckling as much as you can, and you want to know how to do it in GIMP. And the way that I would do it personally requires two plugins to do that are pretty commonly used, at least by me. One of them is the Wavelet Decompose plugin, and the other one is the Resynthesizer plugin with the Heal Selection helper script. And now I personally tend to use Partha's builds of GIMP, and they already have those plugins bundled in with the build, so I didn't have to go and get anything separately. Depending on your platform, you may have to go somewhere else to get it. But if you're on Win or OS X, you can just go to partha.com and grab a copy of one of his builds that has all these plugins already installed in them. So anyway, with those in mind, what I'm going to do is I just need to get rid of the black splotches that are across the image, and then I want to get rid of the white splotches / speckling that are there. And I'll start with the easiest one, which is the black splotches. And it's easy because there's no black anywhere else in your image, only on the imperfections that you're looking to get rid of. The rest of the image is some shades of gray or some shades of dark gray, which means that it's very easy to quickly select these. So if I want to select all the black regions in my image, I can actually just use the Select by Color tool right here, or under, I believe, Tools, Selection by Color. And what I'll do is activate that tool. I can set my threshold to some value that I want as a threshold for pixel values to select, and then come in and select one of these black spots. You should get pretty close. You should see all of these black blemishes now being highlighted. Now what I'd like to do is I'm going to run the Heal Selection script so that I can run Resynthesizer against those. And Resynthesizer is basically a content-aware fill type of function, but for GIMP, meaning it'll rebuild all the areas, the black areas, and fill them in with a rebuilt texture from nearby. So to do that, though, first I'm actually going to expand this selection just a little bit. I'm just going to go to Select, Grow. I don't know, I'll grow it by a few pixels to make sure I've fully selected all those black areas. Like so. And then I can just run Filters, Enhance, Heal Selection. There's a couple of simple options for them. Basically, the width is how far out from the selection to sample the texture from, sample it from all around the selection, and then fill it in randomly. I'm going to leave those values just like that and hit go. You might want to go get a cup of coffee. It usually takes a little while to run, even against a small image like this. I'll be right back. And there it is. It's all done running. And if I select none, I'll see that all the black splotches have been removed and the textures have been rebuilt for them. That was the simple one. Real easy. So dealing with these white splotches now, and how can we correct these? I happen to notice that your image is not nearly as sharply in focus as the white speckling is, meaning that the white speckles are much more in focus and sharper than the actual image data back here. This means that those things are going to show up very clearly on a frequency separation. In our case, we're going to use a Wavelet Decompose. So very quickly, Filters, Generic, Wavelet Decompose. I'll leave the default number of scales to 5. Say OK, and I'll find my image gets decomposed to all of these different layers. And what happens is, all the way up here at Wavelet Scale 1 are the finest details in your image. These are the very, very finest details that can be had. As you move up, and I'm hitting Shift and clicking the visibility icon for each one of these layers, you'll see larger and larger scale details become visible until you get the whole image. So the basic idea here is, and I'll just repeat this across all of these scales, what I'm about to do, but I'll use scale 1 as an example. I'm going to select this layer, and I'm going to duplicate it to make a copy. On the copy, I'm going to do colors and levels, and I'm going to auto normalize the levels across that. This gives me something now to select with for my selection. Just like we did with the black, I can now do Select by Color and select these very bright blemishes, right? And just like with color, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grow that selection a bit, like so. Okay. Now, I don't want to apply any changes to the copy. I want to apply it to the actual wavelet scale, so I can actually right-click and delete that copy layer now, and instead activate wavelet scale 1. And I'm going to run heel selection against this. Enhance heel selection. I might change this to a lower value because we're dealing with fine scales. Say OK. It's going to take a little while to run because you can see we probably have over half the image selected at the moment with all of that speckling. So I'll be right back as soon as it's done running. And there we are. And once it's done running, things should look a bit clearer. Now, the problem is, if I hit Shift and select the already visible eye icon for this layer, it'll reactivate all the layers at once, is that the difference is going to be very subtle, at least at these detail scales. But I basically want to do that exact same process again, just on wavelet scale 2. Right? So to demonstrate, I'm just going to turn off all the other layers. I'm going to Shift click this eye icon, duplicate layer 2, and again, colors, levels, auto, to bring out all those speckles that I'd like to fix. Select by color, select that white of those speckles, grow my selection a little. And now again, I don't want to apply it to the copy layer, so I can now delete the copy layer now that I have a selection, and just apply it to wavelet scale 2. Change this back up to 20 now, and let it run. Again, I'll be back in just a moment. And it's just about done running. And there we go. As before, select none, reshow everything. Now here's your original. Here's with just scale 1 and 2 being slightly healed. Now I'm going to pause the recording for a minute, and I'm going to go ahead and follow those exact same steps over again for wavelet scale 3, 4, and 5, and reapply it, and then I'll come right back to show you the results. So I'll be right back. And there you go. I finished applying the same exact steps just against all 5 of the wavelet scales, and this is what we're looking at as our final result. Now to compare, this is the original. Here's the original, and here's a few minutes just very quickly making selections and running the heel selection. You could of course come in here and clean this up further, but as a first stab of cleaning up some noise issues, this is not bad at all. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful.